they've seen me in newspapers, they've seen me on TV, and on Channel News Asia, they've seen me doing interviews and all. And then they say, oh, maybe our son is doing quite well, but actually no money to pay for moving to a new place. My name is Leonard Soosay. I work as a music producer in a studio called Snakebeat Studios. Back in JC, I wouldn't say high school, but JC, playing in a band was considered very, very cool, among girls lah. So girls would always like, musicians, and then as long as you could play the keyboard or play the guitar or play the drum, you were considered one of the cooler kids. So that's why I forced my mom to go and buy this keyboard, this synthesizer, and then I used that and I joined the band. And the band had four guys, and we called ourselves Breaking Glass. The reason why I didn't pursue music or to be a musician was because, in Singapore also you have to listen to what your parents say and what they want you to be. So obviously, we had to go to like JC or Poly, and then after that go to university, get a degree, and then get a proper 9-to-5 job, because that was what every parent wanted their kid to do. So they sent me to Canada to do economics, and I was in the uni, I was doing economics, but it just wasn't for me. Like I always felt the need to go and let off my frustration playing the keyboard or something, and that was how I actually found out about music production. I found out about people like Quincy Jones, because he was doing a lot of Michael Jackson stuff. So Michael Jackson was, of course, huge in the 80s. So I went to read up about Quincy Jones and about how, like he worked in a studio, and I thought, hey, that's even cooler than being a musician, because you get to work with other musicians and, like you get to create, music or art. And that was why when I was in uni, I decided to switch courses without telling my parents. So I actually enrolled myself in a music school to study music production, but kept taking money from my parents for school fees for my uni without telling them. It was okay. I mean, I kind of like had to convince my parents that this was what I wanted to do, and my mom was saying like, yeah, but you do this how to survive, how to make money. And then I said, no lah, I mean if you are good at something, right, and you want to do it right, then there's no point doing something that you are not good at and you don't want to do. And then she kind of agreed. So, she continued paying my school fees for the music school. And then, so that was how I actually got support from my parents for doing it. I wonder where you are. Okay, it's funny, but as a kid, right, my ambition was to be an astronaut. So I always wanted to be an astronaut, to fly up to space. But somehow, Singapore doesn't have a space program. But say if it was possible, I guess probably I would have tried for something space related. No astronaut, no music production. I'd probably be working in a bank. Yeah. A boring banker. So I have 3 cats in the studio. They're actually more famous than me. Then everyone knows the 3 cats. These cats were actually kittens that were born downstairs. In this building, right, there's a garbage dump downstairs. The mother cat used to be here, and we used to go and feed the mother cat. But somehow she got pregnant and she gave birth to actually 4 kittens. One of the canteen vendors downstairs didn't like cats at all, so he actually paid a foreign worker to get rid of the cats. But the foreign worker misunderstood the word get rid of, so he thought get rid meant kill. He was in the process of killing the kittens, but he managed to catch the 4 kittens. And what I heard was he killed one of them. And he was in the process of killing the other 3 when I actually heard a girl screaming out loud and crying. So I ran, and then I saw this guy that was actually strangling one of the kittens. And then I instinctively I just punched him and he let go of the kitten. So I grabbed the kitten and I grabbed the sack that the other 2 kittens were in, and I ran upstairs. Since then, they've lived here in the studio, and this happened like 6 years ago, so they've grown up to be like little fatties now, like sport cats. When things get difficult or get tough, I usually just go back to the source. Like when there are days where I feel like I need to give up, or like it's too much for me, I go back to listen to stuff that I did long time ago, like all the music, and somehow the music just inspires me again, because it's just like how people listen to songs that they listened to when they were kids, and then they feel nostalgia, and then they get inspired again. So for me, that's what I do lah.
Think you know it too. I'm no good for you. Think you know it too.
I think me leading my life is kind of like an inspiration for quite a few people already lah. People who have actually decided to do exactly the same thing that I do. Like even yesterday when I met Asher, who I consider like one of the best live sound engineers now. He's a young boy, young kid. And he told me this story when he met me. He said that he was walking along Esplanade and then he heard this sound, and then he went. Then he said, but then he heard the sound and he was thinking to himself, oh my god, like why do they sound like that? And then he walked to the sound booth and he saw me standing there. So he said instead of watching the band, he spent the whole time watching me, and then he said, one day I'm going to be Leonard Soosay. For me, right, I think it all started with music. At the end of it all, right, like say when I retire, right, I think I want to be able to like sit down and listen to an entire library of music that Singapore has produced in the last 20 years, and then feel good about it and feel happy that that we have all this talent that has come out, and all this music that's come out, because the content is invaluable. It's something that we created ourselves.